would spell I like you, or...
Ew, I didn't know that. I just got the chills.
Oh yeah, it would spell creepy things out.
You might be a lot shorter than me. When you're far away, you're like, hey guys, why is your face so dark? Hey guys, what is up? My name is Miranda if you're new here, and if you're back, hey, what's up, hello. Today, I'm with Becky. You might have seen her last week when they told scary stories about stuff that happened in her old house. So if you want to watch that, go watch that. And we gave her a sneak peek of what we're doing. What did I just say?
Sneak peek.
We gave a sneak peek of what we're doing today. She's gonna tell some Ouija board stories. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on socials so we can become friends. I'm uploading a video every single day in the month of October. So if you want to see the schedule, it's down below. And today it's obviously story time. And she's gonna tell us about some Ouija board stories. I just said that. So
Just start. So for anybody who's not a believer in Ouija boards, I beg to differ. Due to the fact that my mom had an experience when she was a teenager, and then my best friends and I, when we were in high school, there was 4 of us, we did the Ouija board, and it took us about probably 5 or 6 times playing with it till we really realized it was scary as crap, and we wanted nothing to do with it. But the first story happened, and my mom used to always tell me, do not touch the Ouija boards, they're real. There is definitely a realm out there that you reach, whether or not it's satanic or...
her friends were rebels.
Yeah, we were rebels. But my mom used to always warn me, don't mess with them, you just don't know who you're gonna contact, whether or not it's an evil spirit, a good spirit, because whether or not you believe or not, there is a different realm out there, demon or whatever it may be. So anyway, my mom was a teenager. She is the baby of 3 girls. Her 2 older sisters, they lived in California at the time, had gone to a beach party, which they did all the time, but they were told they had to be home that night by my grandparents, and they ended up...
Sure, just come on in.
Come on in, Dexy. They ended up not getting home when they were supposed to. So my mom was playing with the Ouija board. I don't recall if she said she had a friend there with her or not. I believe she did. But they were playing with the Ouija board, and they asked the Ouija board where Sue and Sylvia were. Back then, they didn't have cell phones. You didn't have a way to get a hold of anybody unless you drove out to where they were. So they asked them where Sue and Sylvia were. And the Ouija board replied with trunk, in the trunk. And of course they freaked out. They said, say goodbye, and the Ouija board flew off and said goodbye. So finally my 2 aunts got home the next morning. Of course my grandparents were freaking out, and asked them where they had been, and they said, we're so sorry, we accidentally locked our keys in the trunk. So the Ouija board had proceeded to tell them that something about the trunk, they didn't know what, but when they got home, my aunts clarified that they had left their keys in the trunk and it had gotten locked in there, and they had to get a ride home the next day from a friend because the keys were in the trunk. So,
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, exactly. So when I was in high school, like I said, there was 4 of us. I had 3 best friends that the 4 of us did everything together. We were with each other 24/7. One of them was my best friend from middle school, and then the 4 of us all just became, and the other 2 had been best friends since middle school. So the 4 of us kind of connected, and we spent every waking minute together. We spent every weekend together. Well, one of them had a Ouija board, so we decided one night we were gonna play with the Ouija board. And we lit candles, and we were sitting in her room. We started playing with the Ouija board. And of course, you know, we're like, whatever, you're moving it. No, you're moving it. I'm not moving it. Yes, you are, you're moving it. Well, then I can't recall because it was a long time ago. I can't remember exactly what was asked, but one of the girls asked it something, and when it answered, she completely freaked out and let go of it. It was something that only she would know the answer to. So we were like, okay, whatever, it's just a coincidence. Well, as we were talking to it, was responding to absolutely everything we said. Back then we all had CDs and CD players and stereos, and
for those of you who are young,
and there was no iTunes or Amazon Music or anything like that. Everything you had to buy on CD. So anyway, my friend had a large stack of CDs on top of her stereo, and one of the girls said, if you're really real, do something to prove it. Well, nothing happened right away, but then all of a sudden, about 5 minutes later, we were still playing with the Ouija board, and all of a sudden, all these CDs went flying off of the stereo. So of course,
did you crap your pants?
We screamed at the top of our lungs. Of course, my friend's mom came running in, and then that scared us on top of it. But at that point in time, then we told the spirit, because if you don't know anything about a Ouija board, you have to tell them to say goodbye. If you don't, then you leave
you're with it forever.
You leave the realm or whatever it is that you've opened, you leave that open. We kept telling it to say goodbye, and it kept telling us no. It didn't want to leave. It liked being with us.
That's weird.
Yeah, and it would tell you that. It would spell it out. You know, it would spell out, I like you, or...
Ew, I didn't know that. I just got the chills.
Oh yeah, it would spell creepy things out. You know, it spelled out names of guys that we were dating, because we all had boyfriends at the time. It would spell out their names. It would tell us that it was gonna hurt the guys and different things like that. So we played a couple more times. The last time we played, my one friend got super emotional. She didn't have the greatest relationship with her father, and it said something very specific, and I can't recall because we were like, what is it talking about? And she wouldn't answer us, and she ended up hysterical and left the room. And that was the last time I ever touched a Ouija board. Never will I ever want to touch one again, because the feeling that you get of something watching you and being there with you.
Ew, I feel gross just thinking about it.
Yeah, you literally can feel the presence of something, and that's terrifying. And it's not just like, oh, somebody's watching me. Like, you know, you get those creepy, eerie feelings. No, you physically can feel the presence of something there with you. I know my mom had told me stories, and I was like, yeah, whatever, Mom. That's such a fluke thing, and I didn't believe it. But after experiencing it for myself, I'll never ever touch a Ouija board again.
You don't even watch Ouija board movies.
We were in the store, and Ouija board, the movie, was on sale for like $5, and I was like, yeah, that's because that's just opening the door for Satan to come in your house.
Cheap way to get possessed.
Yeah, seriously. And I had another friend of mine, later, years down the road, we were talking, and we found out that she did the Ouija board when she was in high school. And she said she never felt the same after that. To the point where, like, she would close her eyes to wash her hair in the shower, and she felt presence with her.
Wait, like the meme I just showed you?
Exactly. And after talking about it, you know, they're religious and they go to church like we do, and she said that her pastor mentioned something about when you play with the Ouija board, what it opens up and brings into your life is hard to get it unattached from you. And he said, so if you've done it and you've played with them before, if you can see things when you close your eyes, and I mean, just creepy things. And I was like, yeah, I felt that for years. Like I would wash my hair and try to keep one eye open just because.
I do that sometimes. Does that mean there's someone watching me?
I don't know.
I mean, it's me, so probably.
I was gonna say, it might be.
Also, you said creepy stuff happened at Grandma's house?
I don't know if my grandmother still had the Ouija board when I was young, but.
Wait, she played with it too?
No, but my mom had it.
Oh.
I don't know if it was packed up when we lived in Maryland and they had it, because they had this really creepy attic. And their attic wasn't like a normal attic where you get up in it. It was on the same floor as the top level.
Where you walk into it like a movie?
Yeah, but the door was like, you know, itty bitty, and you had to like hunch down and like crawl through it, because it was like at the, you know, where the house starts to slope. And so Kendra and I went in there one time, and the feeling that we got, like both of us immediately got sick. There was this creepy doll that was my grandmother's sitting there, like sitting perfectly straight up in the attic. Oh, Kendra and I screamed. We never went back in there. But
now I know why you don't like those movies. It's because you saw it all before.
Yeah. And Kendra's got some creepy stories because that doll is now at Aunt Sylvia's house. And she's got creepy stories about it with her daughter. Like, knowing about it being in the attic, but she's never seen it in the attic before, but it is up there. Like, her daughter's like, I want to play with that doll. Creepy. Kendra and I just had weird connections too. And again, I don't know if, whether you believe it or not, just being open to the sensitivity of things. My grandparents only lived 5 minutes from where I was living with my parents. We were over there all the time. Both my parents worked full time, and then my cousin, both my aunt and uncle worked full time, so we would all kind of centrally meet at my grandparents' house. But it was one night I wasn't gonna stay with her. Well, the next morning my dad dropped me off, and Kendra and I started talking, and I had a horrible night terror that night. I had woke my parents up because it was such a terrible night terror, and I was screaming and telling somebody to get out of the house, get out of the bed, get out of the house. And I was just screaming it. Well, the next morning, I hadn't told anybody besides my parents, but Kendra proceeds to tell me about this night terror that she had had, that the house caught on fire and the bed was on fire. And she was stuck in the bed and physically couldn't get out of the bed. And so here I was, you know, 5 miles away, having a dream where I was screaming, get out of the house, get out of the bed. So it was just weird things like that that always happened that were connected to my grandparents' house. We moved in with them eventually because my parents helped to take care of them. I would always feel presence when I went to the basement. Their basement was really creepy, and so when we moved in with them, if I had to go down there, because that's where the laundry room was, I would literally sprint up the stairs, freaking out, praying for protection because of the creepy feeling that you just got that somebody was just slowly traipsing up behind you.
I don't like that. Did anyone else think it was haunted besides you and her?
I don't know. We didn't really talk to anybody else about it because we were always afraid that we would get made fun of for it.
Mood.
So we didn't, So we didn't talk to anybody about it. We just kind of kept it to ourselves. That was some of the creepy stuff that happened.
What if it followed you from that house to our house in Maryland? Now it followed us here. So it's all your fault because you play with the Ouija board.
I know, right? Stupid Ouija board.
Tip of the day. No Ouija boards.
No Ouija boards. Don't even have them in your house.
So that was her scary Ouija board stories. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on socials so we can become friends. And I'll see you tomorrow for Reaction Monday. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.